off the cuff. Everything we say brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff. Walking by faith brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
Yeah, I see y'all.
Everything we say brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
And the truth of the
We
matter
walking
is,
by faith brought to you live. Roman, Will, and Zay off the cuff.
Isaiah trying to have us on here all night.
We can't glaze over that though. We can. Oh my goodness.
What's going on? What's going on, good people?
Yeah.
We's back again. We's back again in the place to be. It's your boy Isaiah, also known as Zaya.
Will Parker Jr. is in the house.
And you know your boy Pastor Roman D, and your boys are
Off the cuff. Woo! Hey, what's the deal? What's the deal? What's the deal,
What's
yo?
up, fellas? How y'all be? How y'all be?
Man,
Hey,
good.
wonderful, baby.
Hey, man, it's a privilege to be here again with you guys, man. Hey, this is what's up, man. What's the
Yeah.
deal, man? Hey, man, listen, y'all hit me on the text message the other day, man. It came through, man, and I was excited about the actual topic for the day. And listen, can your spouse be your best friend? Whoa. Hey, you know what, Will? Listen, hey, we at the free throw line, and I don't want to shoot it. I'm going to just pass the rock to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hey, what it is, bro, what it is.
All right, so let's do this. Let me give you our definition of a friend, and then we'll go off the cuff. I got my phone with me today. Check it out. It says a friend is a person attached to one another by feelings or by affections or by personal regard. Okay. It also says a friend is a person who is on good terms with one another. And then in the Greek, it says a friend is a trusted confidant, held dear in close bond of personal affection.
Wow.
So the question is your spouse, or maybe you're not married, is your girlfriend, is your boyfriend, is your husband, are they your best friend? Are they your best friend? And then we'll revisit that in momentarily here. But Roman D, I'm gonna kick it off to you. Is your spouse your best friend?
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Come on, man.
not.
Come on, man.
You know, the thing I think what gets people so wrapped up in this is they're so used in tradition. Tradition says your spouse should be your best friend. You should be able to tell your spouse anything. But the question is that realistic? Can you tell your spouse everything that goes on in your mind? Some of the thoughts that you think that you don't even want your real best friend to know.
Boy.
So the question really is we got to start with is we have to deal with traditional thinking.
Yeah.
Because what people try to do is, and people don't mean to be mean or whatever.
Yeah.
They give you advice from their personal experience. They give you advice for what works for them. But just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean it's going to work for you. You should be respectful. You should listen. You should even think about it. See if it maybe even try see if it works. But for me, and the crazy thing, me and my wife, we had a conversation, and she said the same thing. She said there's just some things that her as a woman, even if she would tell me, I wouldn't be able to understand to her capacity.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is there's some things as a man that even if I told her, she wouldn't be able to understand the totality of it because she's not a man. I'm not a woman. And so we just deal with different things. We see things differently. And so from my perspective, I don't think it works.
Wow.
I don't think it works. I think it adds extra responsibility that shouldn't be on the other person.
Wow.
Man, you know what? This is a real, deep question. I think, there's a lot of people that will hear it and be like, there's a lot of people that hear it and be like, no. A lot of people is like, I'm unsure. For me, I think I'm kind of like, it's a difficult thing to do that. You know what I mean? Because when you think of a friend, for me, when I first got with my wife, we were friends, you know what I'm saying? And we, you know, hung out, we had all of that good time and stuff like that. But now when I think, you know, being married, it takes the place of friendship, right? So it's no longer, you know, something that I can, you know, I can't depend on her like I can on a friend. Like a friend, they can only go so far. They can only do so much. But I think as a wife, when I think of marriage, though, I think of something that's not a natural thing. It's a spiritual thing. So I think that marriage takes the place, you get what I'm saying, of friendship. But here's the thing, you know, when I think of a friend, you know, of course, you know, the definition that you gave, Brother Will, it's like, you know, it's very difficult, man, because, you know, like, you know, with y'all, like y'all my homies, brothers in the faith, you know, I can share with y'all stuff that, you know, is something that God says, go talk to your brothers about. You know what I'm saying? So I guess, hold on, before, when we go a little further, I want to ask you this, Will, because, you know, do you think that men should have women friends? Now, and the reason I want to say that because, I mean, I think that maybe that can kind of help a little bit with us saying like, okay, should our spouse be our friend? I mean, you know, what do you think about that, bro?
Ooh, boy, you doubled into another question.
Oh, but it's ties. It's all together.
We may have to put that one on hold.
hey, let me say this, then I'll deal with that.
Okay.
Let me say this, because that is a great question. And I think that question is going to depend on your personnel. That's going to depend on you and your wife and really how y'all get down.
That's good.
But here's what I think about when we say, is your spouse your best friend? Honestly, I believe and I think that you're dummying down your wife when you actually put her on a best friend level. Because the truth of the matter is, my wife is so much more greater than my friend. She's my helpmeet. She's my confidant. She's my accountability partner.
Yeah.
I think this question is going to be debatable depending on how people really define friendship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because a friend to me is a person that will never lead you wrong. They will respect you on all levels.
Yeah.
They won't try to get you in trouble.
Come on, bro.
They won't call on you when they're in check this out. They won't call on you when they're in trouble if it's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Your friend will protect you. Now, I think where it get twisted at is your wife is all of these things. But at the same time, sometimes a friend, they won't keep it real with you right away.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Sometimes they won't keep it real with you right away. Sometimes friends get caught up in the feelings where they would take way too long to let you know when something's out of place. Your wife is supposed to be there out the gate.
You're right, bro.
It don't matter if it hurt.
Yeah.
Honestly, she should be able to say it any type of way to you because you have a different type of bond. You don't have to play you shouldn't have to play the role of I'm trying to hurt his feelings. You should know your wife ain't trying to hurt your feelings.
Yeah, that's good.
Where sometimes in friendship, we still got to preference our confidence, our preference, our conversation to say something like, hear me, bro. And we start explaining ourselves who we are, which your friend should know who you are.
Yeah.
So again, I think this is going to play into how people really value or define friendship.
Yeah. Wow.
Hey, and when you said that, bro, you know what it made me think about? It made me think about it also not only how they define friendship, but how they define marriage.
Yeah, bro.
It's good.
That's good.
Or even dating. Their perspective on dating or marriage, because you said something. You said you really, when you put your spouse in the best friend category, you actually dummy them down.
Yeah.
You actually demote them.
Exactly.
Because the order of things should always be your spouse and then your friends, whether it's best friend or friends or however you want to label it. And so it's important that we take a step back and really look at how do we view marriage. If you're married, how do I view this marriage?
Yeah.
If you're in a relationship, where are we in this relationship? Because if you're so far even in the boyfriend and girlfriend,
Yeah.
that person should still be elevated over your friend.
Come on, bro. Yeah.
Even in the dating, because you're building to go somewhere that you and that friend will never go.
Yeah, bro.
And so what one thing I want to make it clear, we're talking not just about friends, we're talking about best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I think that's on a whole, even defining that is something totally different, because people can have a whole bunch of friends, but very few people have a whole bunch of best friends.
Yeah. Hey.
These are people you can confide in. These are people you can be honest in. Whereas when you were saying earlier, that best friend, even to some degree, shouldn't be to the point where they're holding back.
Yeah.
That's true.
Come on, bro.
That
Hey.
best friend, and I think when you said because the wife has friend qualities, but it doesn't stop there. Whereas your friend, even your best friend, they go to a certain point.
Yeah.
But your spouse goes through with you through hell or high water.
Come on, bro.
They supposed to be ride or die with. They stood before God, before the preacher, and before witnesses, and made a covenant with you.
Yeah.
Whereas your friend just said, "Hey, we this is what we decided."
Oof. Hey. Come on.
That's
Hey,
good, bro.
Yeah, and you know what too? Like, cause I mean, when we say this too, you know, I'm thinking because, like you said, Pastor Roman D, which was big. I think we all kind of saying the same exact thing too to our listeners out there. It's like your spouse goes further than a friend. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, you know, we can even talk about, you know, relations, sexual relations, you know, because as a boyfriend and girlfriend now, truth be told, we know that there's some situations that happen, you know, which I was, you know, wasn't married before I started experiencing, you know, sex before or after marriage. But, you know, when we really think about it, if we trying to do it the proper way, you know, when you think of a friend shouldn't be there for you for sex. A friend should be there to get to know you, right? And so if the way that I'm thinking of it is that like your spouse can go the extra mile, you know what I mean? It could be those relations sexually and then also intimately dealing with the fact of, okay, this place is where I'm weak at and I can trust you with this and listen, you know what I mean? But we were saying earlier how, you know, and I would say this, fellas, this is just my heart. I think you should be able to tell your wife anything, your darkest, deepest secrets, and she be there to rock with you the whole way. Because you said it, Will, she's a helpmeet. So she's somebody that should be able to help me with where I'm struggling at. Now, if I have an issue with pornography, I should be able to come to my wife and let her know I'm struggling with this. Can we walk through this? And I think that is what a wife is, you know. So I would say, yes, a wife should be, you know, more than a friend, you know, because, you know, I mean, when you consider marriage, you know, marriage is blending two together, right? So it's like, you know, she having to deal with the simple fact of, you know, my issues. I'm having to deal with the simple fact of her issues, but we come together under Christ and we find a way to be able to kind of walk through, you know, the process together to grow together in a relationship. Now, when we look at boyfriend and girlfriend, I would say yes, in a relationship, you should get to know the person that you're going to be with, right? I mean, because I think if a friendship is dealing with an intimate level on a like social level, you know, you should get to know them. Like, so I say for girlfriends and boyfriends, yes, but for married couples, it's a little bit deeper. It's above and beyond that. What you think, Will, man?
Well, bro, I'm gonna pass it back to you.
Uh-huh.
But you remember, you and your wife was friends before you got married. So was she your best friend then? How did that shift off because you said I do?
Like, and this is what I've always, you know, stressed to my wife, and I've always stressed to even, you know, younger boys as well. Like when I first got with my wife, there was no "I love you." You know what I'm saying? It was more of a, you know, it was more of just getting to know them. You know, so yeah, like we were friends, but you know, there's more of not really the mistakes that's in a relationship. So it's easy to like a person like that. When you find out that this person had been dealing with, you know what I'm saying, bad credit, and this person been, you know what I'm saying, dealing with struggles of fear and insecurities and, you know, all of those things, then love has to be activated in a relationship because, you know, now this person is going to be there for the real you rather than just this image of, oh wow, this guy's beautiful, he has it together, you know what I'm saying? So to answer your question, Will, I think yeah, like we were, but it wasn't dealing with the deep issues that a marriage would deal with. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Okay. So here I'm gonna pass this to Pastor Roman D. But Zaya, I want to address something you said.
Mm-hmm.
You said you should be able to tell your wife anything.
Yeah.
Now, just because you should you?
Roman D.
Because think about it.
Roman
Think
D.
about this. Think about this. If I'm dealing with lust,
Yeah.
okay, this is an example.
Yeah.
If I'm dealing with lust,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go to my wife and say, "Boo, that big booty right there just turned me on."
Well, I mean, you should though. Hold on, because when you think about,
Dude, what should you?
you shouldn't go and tell
Should you?
you shouldn't go and tell your wife, "Oh, I'm dealing with this big booty," but you should go and tell your wife so she can fulfill your sexual desires.
But right now, I'm lusting at. I might not take it that far right at this particular. I'm looking at the booties. I'm looking at everything jiggle.
Roman
I'm
D.
looking at them twerk.
I'll let you say, Roman D. Hey.
But should I share that type of detail with her? Roman D, what you think? Isaiah said I should.
Hey, I say use wisdom.
Oh.
You say this, know your personnel. Because here's the thing. The whole goal is for you to get help.
Okay.
It's for you to get help. Number one, you got to ask yourself, can my wife help me in this area?
Wow, that's a good question.
Because if you share with her, hey, I'm struggling with lust. I'm looking at butts, breasts, and thighs all the time. And she don't have the ability to help you in that area. What it could create in her is more insecurity.
Okay, that's good.
What it could create is she don't trust you now because you looking at this and you looking at that.
Yeah.
And so what you got to do, you got to use wisdom, because then you have to get connected to somebody who can help you through it.
That's good.
And sometimes you need to connect with a man, whether it's your pastor, whether it's somebody else who can walk you, who can give you some practical tips, some practical tools to help you begin to get better in that area. Because if you go and tell her and she don't have the tools to help you, you're going to cause a whole bunch of ruckus in your house and you still not going to be getting any help.
Oof.
And you still going to be, and matter of fact, what it could lead to you is you going even further with your lust. So now you're not looking at it, and now you at home, you fighting with your wife because now she don't trust you. Now she got insecurities and she got all this, and now y'all fighting, and now you doing more than looking. You thinking about how you going to do it now.
Wow.
And that can open the door for you going out and cheating and doing something that you probably wasn't even thinking about beforehand. And it's because you didn't use wisdom and go to the right person to help you get help.
Wow, you know what? And I hear someone saying right now, you know what I'm saying? Well, I the wise thing for me to do is to say it, is to share, what I'm going through. But what Pastor Roman D saying is so important. It's like learning how to be able to dwell with your spouse with understanding. And if you know that, you're in a situation with someone who, and this is why getting to know a person first will be beneficial for you in your marriage, because you'll begin to understand like, wow, okay, this is what I can do. This is the things I can't do. These are certain things that, drives him up the wall, drives her up the wall. And then when you get into your marriage, it's kind of like you've already created a foundation. I'll say this. I think that fellas and ladies that's listening, when you're getting into a relationship, this is the most important thing that you have to do. What Pastor Roman D said is big. You have to use wisdom. And the wisdom that we're talking about is getting to know who you're going to be with. If you're going to spend your life with this person, if this is somebody you want to be with, get to know them intimately. And what I mean by that is that you want to know where they're weak at. And you got to ask yourself the question, can I be here to stick with this person through this? You know what I'm saying? Because there's going to be some stuff that grows in the relationship that the enemy's going to use. And he's going to say, you know what, look at this, look at this. And the thing is that you have to be able to say, I can deal with that. But here's the challenge. When you make a confession to say you can deal with it, here comes the enemy trying to tear you down and tell you can't do it. Will, can you speak to that person right there that's saying that I made the commitment, my wife is my best friend, but now all of this stuff is happening and I don't know.
What don't they know?
Like they saying like I don't know if I can trust them no more with sharing what I
Okay.
feel. You know what I mean? I told her this, and now she don't trust me. She don't like me. You know, all of this. You know what I mean?
So let me say it this way. First of all, let me wrap up what both of you brothers are saying. Zaya, what you just pointed out was you basically told the people to know and learn your personnel.
Come on, bro.
And then Pastor Roman D came right back and he kind of said, since you know your personnel, use wisdom. So that person right now that's out there, that's tripping out, that's wilding out because their spouse don't trust them and things ain't being said right. They got to do a couple of different things. You got to have the hard conversations.
Come on, bro.
And you got to learn how to listen. To my fellas out there, we have to do a better job of listening.
Come on, bro.
Because it's a couple things you need to know about women. Women talk in circles. We talk in straight lines. Okay? Zaya, you got to feel me on this.
He said the
They
ladies.
talking-
He said the ladies talk drunk, y'all.
He said,
That's not what he said.
Honestly,
Zaya Beat said that. But bro, we're direct. They talk in circles. Example.
come
Zaya.
on, bro.
Your wife is mad at you, and she's mad at you because you ain't take out the trash. Okay, and so you coming from work, you call home. Hey babe, what's for dinner? She said, man, listen, I ain't had time to cook no dinner. I went to the store. I ran into Susie, and Susie was talking about her husband Daryl cheating on her. And Daryl, you remember Daryl? That's the dude I told you that was a snake, and she never should have married him anyway because low key he tried to say something to me.
And you try to hold on to the beginning of the conversation,
Bro, all you want to know is this she cooks something.
Yo.
And she went around circle, and then she comes all the way back. And matter of fact, I didn't get a chance to say nothing. I had to take out the trash because you didn't take out the trash. So, bro, again, you just want something to eat, but she went all the way around,
Yeah,
and all
bro.
she had to say is, "Nah, baby, I ain't had time."
Yeah, bro.
You know, and we're more direct, where we'll give you direct answer. Now, that's not a bad trait for the woman, but they often do that.
Yeah.
And if you're not paying attention to them and understanding what's going on with them, you will miss it as a man.
Yeah.
So now that person out there that their wife don't trust no more, and they're going through all these issues, they might have missed what was really happening.
Wow.
Maybe she don't trust you because you ain't checked in.
Come on, bro.
Maybe she don't trust you because she just want you to call her once in a while. Maybe it's other signs in that relationship that we have to pay attention to. So that person, Isaiah, that you're talking about, I would say one of the first things they need to do, they need to pay attention.
Wow.
Know and learn your personnel, but use wisdom.
Wow, that's good.
Because clap.
Hey.
Because here's the thing you got to understand. Whether you a man or woman, if the other person don't trust you, most of the responsibility is on you to build that trust. And sometimes you have to do things that you don't feel is nothing wrong with, but they feel it's something wrong with. Prime example. If you're at a point where the person you're dating or you're married to don't trust you, but you like, I don't see nothing wrong with us talking to the opposite sex, but they do. You have to change that, even though you may not see anything wrong, to protect them and to help build that trust. You gotta cut some people off.
Yeah.
You got to stop having those conversations. Why? Because you did something that broke trust. And so you have to be willing, because here's the thing, because our spouse is over our best friends, is over our friend, we have to do whatever it takes to build and mend that relationship. If that means you used to have an opposite sex best friend, I mean, hey, I can't talk to you right because I messed up, I jacked something up, and so I gotta build the trust.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure this relationship is my top priority. And so sometimes you have to do tough things like that, and you gotta sit down and like Will said, you gotta have the tough conversations, because here's the thing. You have to understand what broke the trust for them.
Wow.
Not speculate.
That's good.
And that's where listening comes in. Even if they're getting emotional, you have to be in a listener's position where you're not emotional. You're just hearing what they're saying. And you allowing to, hey, fellas, even if she is mad and she's talking in circles, you have to be patient. You have to be patient. Why? Because you're building something. You're mending something. You're restoring something. And sometimes we get in there, oh, I'm not going to take all this. No, because you can't be that way, because you're building and you're mending something. So sometimes you have to have the tough conversations. You have to be willing to sacrifice something on your end that you may not feel is wrong, but they feel is wrong, and it's hurting their communication with you.
Wow. Yeah. Now listen, I agree with that. I think that, and this is the thing too, when and I heard what Pastor Roman D said, and I really want to, take a little bit to talk about that as well too, because when you consider the fact of, in a relationship, when you make a decision and you do something that other person, for example, let's just say that, I cheated. And you know what I mean? Now, my spouse has to, build that trust again. And I think what Pastor Roman D is saying is learning to listen to those areas where she's like, you hurt me here, or he, hurt me here, and, vice versa on both sides, whether it's the man that stepped out or whether it was the woman that stepped out. But, listening to the person that was the one that got stepped out on and saying, like, I was hurt here. This is why I'm emotional here. This is why I'm wounded here. And I think that is in itself is learning to become your spouse's friend on a level of communicating. And because that's one of the biggest things that I have in my friend. I think with my friend, he listens to me talk. And then at the same time, he gives me sound counsel. Now, you don't want to go talking to somebody that's like, hey, you know what I'm saying, agreeing with you when you mad or when you upset, because what that does is it'll fuel your anger. It'll fuel you being upset. You want to go where the opposite is going to come. So if I had an experience in my life where I was walking on my own and all I was hearing was what I wanted to say. But when I heard what was needed to be said, and this is the biggest thing, when you're being convicted, and I want to say this because it's dealing with a marital relationship and you being friends with your spouse that's asking this question. When you're being convicted, it does not hurt. Conviction calms and it soothes, and it gets you back to the state of being authentically you, right? If you feel like that you get convicted, right, and you feel like somebody's coming down on you, especially when you need to be soothed, that's not conviction. You know what I'm saying? That's not a person looking out for your best interest. You know what I mean? You want to get around people that are going to be like, I'll run to Roman and Will, let them know what happened in a heartbeat. These are my homies. These are my bros. Shout out to the bros, because I think that, I trust them, you know what I'm saying, with what I have to bring to them, and I trust their feedback. So I want to say that to the fellas. Now to the ladies, hey, Will, you might have to take on that one, because you said the ladies, man, they speak in circles. So I don't know. You think the ladies should talk to the men, or do you think they should talk to the ladies? I don't know. All I know is, fellas, go holler at your homie that's going to lead you in the right direction. It ain't going to hurt you too much, but he will step on your forces. But you got a rag, you can wipe him off in Jesus' name. Hey, what you got, Will, bro?
Well, hey, let's do this. Let's break for a commercial, and when we come back, let's deal with can you have lady friends since you're married?
Okay,
we'll be right back, and let's jump into that.
Yeah, eternal fashion right here, baby. Yeah, eternal fashion in just Jesus. Just Jesus. Dripped in high fashion, Christ wear, no fear. Resurrected clothes wear, the lost run to Christ, yeah. His body, it was
wasn't resting in the tomb. Only what he was wrapped in was laying in the room. Jesus on mine, from the temple to the sandals. We rock the latest fashion, the devil can't handle us. Christ Jesus got us covered like this Jesus wear. Oh yeah, I feel his glory in here. God's here. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Just Jesus on mine. Hallelujah, hallelujah. He's always on time. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Faith and no fear. Hallelujah, hallelujah. In my just Jesus wear. Just Jesus.
What's up, good people? Listen, I need you to take out your cell phone right now. Go to my website, www.willparkerjr.com. Get my new book, FV1, The Foundation of Faith. Let me help you take your faith to another level. While you're there, grab the study guide too. It will elevate your faith even higher. And remember, faith changes everything.
Hey, yeah, so we back, y'all, and before we left out, Will, you had a question that was so dope, that was so deep that like we got to get into it. But the question you asked was, can men have friends that are women, bro? And that's so dope, man. So since you asked it, I got to ask you, bro, what do you think about that? Because I hear that question a lot. A lot of people ask that question, and I think we need to talk about that.
So, bro, this is what you kind of asked earlier. I just went back to it. So, again, I believe that it's going to depend on your spouse and you. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, this is going to be a situation where Pastor Romedy D kind of said this early, but how does your wife feel about it? Can you handle it?
That's good.
All right. Now, there's most cases where some guys had women friends before they got married.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Pastor Romedy said this earlier. Some of them you had to let go. Mm-hmm. Maybe you didn't have to let them all go. It's really going to depend on your wife.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a couple lady friends. My wife know them. She met them. They know her. I can handle it. Okay. I can handle it. But I also know when to shut it down.
Come on, bro. That's good.
You feel me? Man, I've had women in the church, bro, get close to me. And y'all know me, man. I love helping people.
Yeah, bro.
So I've had women in church get close to me, even if they was on some type of slick stuff, because I'm not naive.
Yeah.
Even if they're on some type of slick stuff, once I help them so far, I pass them to my wife.
Wow.
I passed them to my wife.
That's good.
And my wife knew what was going on. You know what I'm saying? I passed them and now if they drop off from her, we know what the game was.
Yeah.
But that question for me is really gonna depend on you and your wife. If you can have a woman friend or she can have a guy friend and things in that nature.
Wow.
Me and my wife, we've done it. We do it, but I ain't got no 50 girlfriends either. You know what I'm saying? Girl friends. Let me put a pause in there.
Yeah.
Girl friends.
Female friends.
Female friends. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got 50 of them, just like she ain't got, she went to college with guys that I know and we kick it. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to depend on me, man. It's just going to depend. Each individual person. Pastor Romedy, what you got?
Hey, I think it's two things it comes down to: communication and agreement. Communication and agreement. Number one, you got to talk about it. You need to talk about this while you're dating. And that's why even in the dating process, you need to ask questions. You need to see how people think, because sometimes the woman is cool with it, but the dude ain't.
That's true.
Yeah. That's right. That's true.
There's just times it is. And so you guys have to come together and talk about it. So that way, when you walk down that aisle, it's nothing thrown. It's just, oh my goodness, now you upset. We've been friends we've been dating 2 years and we was friends and you ain't said nothing. That's why you need to communicate.
That's good.
And then come to an agreement. Sit down, talk about it. Don't argue about it. But talk about it. And that way everybody can express how they feel about it. Because if the other spouse is not comfortable with it, you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, bro.
You shouldn't do it because it's only going to cause you more trouble down the line.
Yeah.
Because especially if you got one of them slick opposite sex person, and they know your spouse ain't in agreement with them, and they start doing stuff they shouldn't be doing it, and you don't shut it down, and you open up a door, and now your spouse is even mad. Number one, your spouse ain't agreeing with it, and now they calling too late, or they doing things that are inappropriate. Your spouse will get even madder. Now your relationship with your spouse is all jacked up. Why? Because you didn't communicate and you didn't come into agreement.
Wow. Yeah.
Good,
Claps on that one. Yeah. Listen, that's a really big question, man. Like even in my house, man, that's a question that.
Come on, Isaiah, keep it real. Your wife ain't no joke, boy. Come on,
it gets brought up. So in the house, when we deal with female friends on that note, you know what I'm saying? It's most definitely it's a no, man. And I think that, like truth be told, man, you know what I mean? It is. And I think that, for me, learning, because like Will, like you, bro, I just have a heart to want to help people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because I was brought up in that family. Like my dad is the most, you come into his house, he don't even know you, but he just has that heart to say, like, I understand what you're going through, come and rest here for a couple days. And so that, was the man that my wife fell in love with. Now, the thing is, when you get married, I think what happens is we no longer, like you said, Pastor Roman D, communicate. So what happens is the enemy communicates. So when the enemy conversates in the midst of, look at what he's doing, rather than who he is or who she is, there's room for conflict, right? So I think personally for me, what I'm learning in my relationship is that I am who I am. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm Isaiah. I know that I love to help people. And it hurts sometimes because I help not to receive anything, but because I was taught it. That's what my dad taught me. My dad taught me to help people and, and not look at it in a way that I want to get something in return. It's just what I was taught. So it's something that is not. But now, being married, I think that learning to balance it is something that is challenging. To your point, Pastor Roman D, that communication, because, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's one of my biggest struggles. So those that are listening, if you're in a relationship with your spouse right now, whether man or woman, fellas, probably more so we can relate. I think that if you have the heart, like what we're sharing, what we're saying, one of the biggest things is communicate that first in your marriage, or first before you get married, so that she'll know who you are and what you were torn from. So that won't be no question getting into the marriage. But if you're married, I got to pass the rock to you, Will. What do we say to those brothers?
Well, bro, while you was talking, bro, I straight up phased out. Let me tell you why. When you was talking, first of all, bro, you just said that's the no.
Yeah, hey, come on, bro. That's just, you know what I'm saying?
I got stuck.
That's not even
That boy, hey, Roman D. That boy was like, that boy. I was stuck. Hey, bro, I was stuck on you, bro. Hey, that boy Roman D said, that's a no.
Hey.
My wife, she ain't playing that.
Hey.
Nah, man, but listen, bro, I'm cracking up. I was cracking up. But nah, bro, but listen. Before I get to your question, Isaiah Beats, here's what I was thinking about.
What's that?
I was actually thinking about all the guys and all the females that are really best friends. Because you have some guys and girls that are really best friends. One of my favorite movies is Love and Basketball.
Yeah.
And they was best friends. So I often think about sometimes best friends try to make it work. And sometimes, oftentimes it don't work.
Wow.
Because that dynamic of friendship, of sharing, because bro, your
That's
best friend,
deep, though.
It is, but you almost can say anything to them without worrying about messing up the relationship.
That's true, bro. That's true.
Where again, with your spouse, you got to use wisdom.
You got to use wisdom.
Again, maybe you should be able to say everything to them, but can you?
Yeah.
Say it beats.
Yo.
If if you're talking to a young lady because she really needs your help, and me and Roman D is sitting there with you and we by your side, you's like, bro, I need to tell my wife I'm talking to a chick when you just said no.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bro,
Yeah.
it could be some real issues there.
Yo, steam on the stove. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
that type
yeah,
of steam.
Hey, Medea hot grits.
Hey, come on, it's straight all in the face, bro. Come on, bro.
Medea hot grits. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I was kind of thinking about when you was talking, bro. I'm thinking about all the people that are best friends,
Yeah.
and then how they actually try to make it work and it didn't.
Wow.
But you know, to the married people, man, again, it's just certain things you just got to do, man. That communication is key.
Yeah.
Roman D, you said this on our very first episode. For those of you that have never seen our first episode, this is even before we got on Lit TV and Roku. This is before Purpose.
Yeah.
Pastor Roman D said something that was so crucial about communication, bro.
Roman D.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Roman D? What
Hold
you
on.
said?
I'm trying to
See if you can remember.
when communication
This
when
Isaiah Beats.
I was just on
was it communication and reality is not the same, conflict is in the middle, something like that.
You said something about,
me.
bro. I don't remember. That's why I was asking you.
Dang.
That was
But you
fire.
said
I'm trying
low
to see if I remember.
expectation.
Oh, low communication, low high expectation always ends up in conflict.
Oh.
Watch our first episode.
Yeah.
He said it differently,
Yeah.
but you have to communicate, but you got to make sure your expectation is where it's supposed
Oh,
to be.
I know what you was talking about. Oh, yeah. I think I kind of remember. But yeah, y'all got to watch that first episode. It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got to go back, but it was deep, man. That expectation when you communicate is something serious, man.
Yeah.
So, and bro, honestly, it doesn't matter if you're married or if you're single. You gotta communicate effectively. Got
Yeah,
to.
because here's the thing, and when you said the best friends normally don't work out, because we've been saying this, it's a whole nother level. When
Yeah.
you talk about marriage or you talk about being in a relationship, that's a whole nother level. Because what the mistake they make, I think, is they're used to being able to say whatever to one another.
Yeah.
But then when you put that label on it, when you say, hey, we're gonna make this boyfriend girlfriend thing, expectations change.
Yeah.
They just do. You have a different expectation from your friend than someone you're dating or you're married to. That's just different levels. And so when you move from friendship and you don't make those proper adjustments, you still try to talk to each other the same way.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
still try to express the same thing. You try to talk to one another as you was talking to them before, and you just can't do it. She's more sensitive now. We talked about this, I believe one time, how as men, sometimes we need to talk to other men because some things we express, we get loud, we get boisterous, we get excited, we get passionate. And if you say that to a woman, she'll be like, why are you hollering at me?
Yeah.
I'm not hollering at you. I'm just passionate right now.
He said-
I ain't trying to be your daddy. I'm just trying to express myself. And so many times women only hear men really express themselves when they're angry.
Yeah.
So when you're doing it out of passion, she automatically goes to anger.
Yeah.
And so she shuts down. She can't really hear you because now she getting emotional because you hollering at her.
Yeah.
And so all that's important. All that's important.
Yeah, it's big because, you know, when you think like in relationships, when those things stem up, when they start to grow, you know, the biggest thing is learning how to be able to, you know, converse and also have those emotions. Because like when you angry, I know for me, for example, when I get angry, I get angry. I can go a couple days without actually talking. Like I've done it, you know what I mean? And fellas, I think that, you know, it's something that, like I said, it's a taught behavior. So, you know, in a relationship, you know, I never saw my dad communicate with my mom effectively. So when we talk about married and being friends, I never seen that. You know, all I saw was, you know, in my relationships with my dad, I saw my dad go to work. He came home, the food was ready, he paid the bills, and he played games with us every now and then, and it was a repeat cycle. And the only affection I saw from women, man to women, was when I watched pornography. Now, I'm not trying to get all deep in the crevices, but that was the affection that I saw. So you can imagine as a kid being able to see those things and learning how to be able to produce that in a relationship. So fellas, listen to me and hear me clear. If this is, and we're talking about married and friends, if you are trying to be your spouse, your wife's friend, coming into a relationship like that, it's going to be dangerous, because that communication there is like what Brother Will shared in the beginning. Is difficult because you're not communicating with your emotions, or you're communicating with your masculinity, like what Pastor Roman D saying, that anger. You know what I mean? So it's more so learning how to be able to, you know what I mean? I would say communicate with your spouse in ways that, are different from what we were taught. And it comes to us actually like what we're sharing right now. You have to get around other brothers that don't have that same background experience as you. See, I know Will doesn't share the same testimony I do growing up in my family, nor does Pastor Roman D. But these are solid brothers I can go to talk to, that's going to educate me in a way that's like, hey, bro, you should do this in this type of way, because they'll coach it in a way to where it's not going to be detrimental, or not. I won't even use that word, but it's not going to damage my relationship. It's going to help me get a foundation to build on. And so, fellas, relationship situations, I would say, and I know we're moving closer to that time, but I got to say it again. I don't think that friends, right, should show up in a relationship. I think that it should be bigger than that. Marriage is something that, like we're all talking about. You're learning how to be able to come together and seeing each other's faults. That's truly what I believe marriage is. You're going to see this person's fault. If you're really married to a person, you're going to see their faults, and it's going to show up. Come on, somebody. Come on, bro.
Hey,
if you're really married to them.
Yeah, Isaiah, here's the deal. You really should be seeing those faults before you get married.
Come on, bro. That's what
that should be in the dating stage. That goes back to what Pastor Roman D said earlier about the dating stage.
Yes.
There's different steps and different phases in this thing. You should find out all of this while you are friends.
Come on, bro.
While you are in that dating period. If you don't know who your personnel is, your spouse is, or your girlfriend is, or your husband is, or your boyfriend is, if you don't know who that person is before you say I do, it's going to be a problem.
It is. It is
going to be a problem. So even before you get married, you got to go above that friendship level anyway.
Come on, bro.
You got to go way above that friendship level anyway. Because if you don't, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, and what makes them conversations, you get to know the real person. There's so many people who are dating somebody's representative, somebody's ambassador, but you haven't really met that real person. And it's because you haven't had those conversations. You haven't had those talks. Do you want to have children? How do you react when you get angry? What is your relationship with your parents? What is your relationship with your family? Where do you see yourself? All these different questions you need to be asking on dates.
Yeah.
So many people are getting so caught up in the sex. The sex is good. Well, what happens when all the other mess shows up and it takes away what they can do in the bedroom?
Man.
And so it's so important that you get to know that person, because you shouldn't wait till you get married to start knowing them. That's too late.
Yeah, boy.
Divorce. Because what happens if you see the real them and you don't like them?
Yeah, bro.
Now you're stuck.
Come on.
There are people who are in marriages right now who just now seeing the real person and they feel like they're stuck.
Come on, bro.
And so it's important in the dating stage to ask questions, to communicate, to open up. If they're not willing to talk, that's a sign.
Yeah.
Can you handle? Because one of the things I was asked, if this person never changed, would you still want to marry him?
Wow.
If this person never changed one thing, if they didn't get better, if they didn't get worse, but they stayed the same person they are right now, can you handle it? But you can only answer that if you know who they are right now.
That's so good. Oh, you know what? And that, wow. you know, that's really gonna take a lot of, like you said, Pastor Roman D, that somebody really asking that question, but that's a real thing. That will you continue to be with this person even though you know that they're making a decision not to change? And you know, okay, since we're moving closer to the end, that can we end on that? Like, what do you think, like, now, since we're all spiritual men, we believe in God, we walk by faith, a person comes to us with that question, because Pastor Roman D, you said it, what do you think would be, because since we're men of faith, I mean, I would say,
what's the question, Zaya Beats?
do you think that, you know what I mean, you still be with this person even though you knew they was not going to change? And if a person was so strung out on faith, I'm talking about strung out, like addict on strung out, you know what I'm saying? Will we tell them, take a step of faith, keep praying for them, keep believing, if this is in your heart who you know God is telling you to be with? What do you think? What do you think, bro?
Well, bro, I think you got spiritual on them.
Yeah.
I would say, is God telling you to be with them?
Mm-hmm.
I think people get that twisted too, because last I checked, the Bible, the only person I know that was made for somebody was Eve, for Adam.
Oh, I thought you was gonna bring up Hosea.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Okay.
Eve for Adam, that was it.
Okay.
She was made for him. Everybody else, hey, the word just say you just got to be equally yoked, baby.
Okay, all right.
but bro, I would say this. Another one of my favorite movies. Why Did I Get Married? It was a on one of the scenes. I don't know if it was on 1 or 2. Janet. The girls came to Janet and said, he's tripping, he's wilding out, he's this, that. And she said, pull out your pencil and pull out a pad. Ooh. What I want y'all to do is write down all the pros and all the cons. So I would say, Isaiah, to your question is, what if they never ever change in that area? I would say what you need to decide is, does the pros outweigh the cons, or do the cons outweigh the pros? Wow. If that one thing, they got the issue with that one thing, but they got, let's say one thing, and they got 50,000 pros. I mean, take your guess. I mean, you're gonna have to decide.
You're right, bro.
But Pastor Roman D is right. That's something you're gonna have to say to yourself.
Yeah.
How deep is that one thing? Is that one thing worth 50 different pros?
Yeah.
Hey,
you got to figure it out.
You even need to look at yourself, because here's the thing. They had been doing it all this time. But what made you overlook it? What made you not notice it?
Yeah.
Why were they able to do this particular thing? If we talk about one thing or whatever things, why was they able to do all of this up to this point? And now you want them to change.
Wow.
Did you care?
Evidently, you chose them while they was doing it. Somebody said,
did you care, Pastor Roman D? Did you care at the time?
Because you what?
I said, did you care at the time that it was going down?
You know, did something change on the inside of you? Do you need to have that conversation? This is how I've changed.
Wow.
You know, it's not necessary that anything's wrong with it, because here's an example. They come, they're both unsaved. They have a wonderful dating, they in agreement, they get married, but something happens, one of the spouses gets saved.
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you divorce them because they're not saved? You know, that's the question. Some people say no, they wasn't saved when you married them. You wasn't saved, so you just got to stick it in there and pray.
No, but you know,
beating you.
Oh my God! Listen, man. This is gonna be something, y'all. We're gonna have to talk about on the after party. Listen, let's go
to the after party on this.
I'm feeling a little after party right now, man. We're gonna have to go to the spot and, man, turn up, man, and talk about this a little bit at the after party spot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, we gotta make that happen.
You're right.
What's up, bro?
Hey, people, this is what we need y'all to do.
Yeah.
As soon as we get off here, come to our YouTube page, Off the Cuff TV. We want to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts is on is your spouse your best friend?
Yeah.
Can you have friends being married?
Come on.
Is your girlfriend your best friend? We want to talk to y'all.
We want to
come to our YouTube page, Off the Cuff TV, and let's get it in at the party.
Come on.
See you.
Yo.
Let's get it in.
So in everything, what you have on you as a tither, as a giver of offerings, as a child of the King, on you is the mandate to be fruitful, to always to produce, to multiply, always increase, to replenish, fill, use, refill again, to subdue and have dominion, to control your environment. On the inside of you and on you is the ability to always produce, always increase, fill, use, refill again, and to control your environment. If you're not always producing, if you're not always increasing, if you're not filling, using, refilling again, if you're not controlling your environment, it is because you don't understand the power that is on you. When you got Jesus on the inside of you, it gave you access to this blessing. And when you begin to give tithe and offering, you literally had the weapon in your hand. Now it's time for you to understand how to swing that weapon, how to use that weapon, how to produce by the words of your mouth, by the fruit of your mouth, to produce, to speak abundance, to speak increase, to speak God's word in your life. And so this is what's on us.